Okay, it's Saturday. I'm here by myself. I decided to give you guys an update on the drag car. So, some stuff that's been happening with it. I have been working on the engine. There's going to be a whole separate video on the new, 1,000+ horsepower engine that we're putting together, but that's not what's going to go on in this video. What I wanted to show you guys is some of the stuff that we've been working on. The remnants of taking out all the wiring, and I mean all of it. There's the old harness that Kevin built and the old fuse panel. Everything has been removed. Everything. There's no wiring in the car now at all. Just the way we like it, so we can start fresh with a proper setup. Well, this was a proper wiring harness that was originally in my Rabbit. It's just been in and out of a bunch of different cars. Which is still perfectly intact, just the way that Kevin built it, but we're moving on. We got the harness laid in there for the first time, just to try to get an idea of how things are gonna go, start labeling a few things. We can't really do a whole lot until the engine's in place, but this is just, we got the ECU mounted in there. I don't even know if I've shown any of that yet, actually. So the Nexus is mounted in there. And we're doing this, as mentioned, maybe in this video, I don't know. But this car, hopefully, will be replaced by another car. So a faster car. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of putting everything in here how we want it to be in the new car. So yeah, plug it away. The wiring harness is, Robbie's starting to pick away at it. We still have tons and stuff to do with that. We have the ECU in the car mounted, the new Nexus R5. As you can see, some of the wires and stuff in there. The lighting's not all that great, but I do have the CAN keypad, and I also picked up, when we're at World Cup, the IC7 dash, which obviously is all taped up because we got to mock that in there. So there's tons of stuff that's happening in regards to the electrical stuff on this thing. We're going to have a whole bunch more updates on the chassis and everything that we plan on doing with this thing coming up in the next couple of weeks. So there's going to be a lot of there's going to be a lot of drag car content coming up as we pick through what we're doing with it and trying to reach our goals. Obviously, the end goal is to bring a car to World Cup, and the new engine, the new ECU, and all that is all the stuff needed to kind of get us there. I figured in the middle of this video I'd update you guys on a few other things that are going on that you'll likely see on the channel or you have seen before. One is this 2.5 5-cylinder Golf. It's turbocharged, it's running ECU master. As you can see, it's finally strapped back down on the dyno. It's been on here a few times, but we've chased endless problems with it. So for the 2.5 guys, we do have some footage coming of it. We're just waiting on a little bit nicer day so that we can get some good few hours on the dyno with it. Also, we have a 2-liter, this is a Gen 3 engine. It's getting a mild build, rods and piston engine. I just got to go through and inspect it and stuff before we really get into it. So that's, might see a little bit of content on that. I'm not really sure. We do have a 1AT, full 1AT build that'll probably cover, full engine build that'll probably cover on the channel as well. Also, we're going to have some updates on this one. For the guys that have been following along for a while, this is a 2-liter Mk5 GTI that we did an all-wheel drive conversion on. It is very detailed on the channel. We did, the last time on the dyno, this one made like 450 wheel. It's got a bunch more upgrades. We're shooting for a bunch more power. I do have to build the manifold. As you can kind of see, I started there. So we're tearing back into this one this month, so you guys will see some more content on that. A couple more things I wanted to add into this video that I completely forgot about. One was the 1.8 hoopty. We definitely are going to do a disassembly on it. I know I've been talking about it for literally months now. We had kind of tentatively scheduled it for a few weeks ago. However, going away, a bunch of stuff happened, things going on in life. It just didn't happen yet. We are going to do it, so sit tight. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's still here. We still plan on tearing it apart. So bear with us on that. Also, For the Mk7 hoopty, I picked up a built, basically mild build, rod and piston engine, Gen 3 for the Mk7R. So we plan on pushing that. I'm going to tear it apart and add a couple more things to it just to beef it up a little bit more. So we have that on schedule as well. And we're almost at, it's getting to the end of the year, and we're almost at 25,000 subscribers. So if you're enjoying any of the content, do us a favor, subscribe, doesn't cost you anything. Let's get back to the rest of the stuff. So something else that we've been working on is the intake manifold. So as you can see, the dual injector setup is finally done on the intake manifold, and I've wasted, not wasted because it's done, but I have so much time into this. Same with Clayton. It's just been endless amounts of work to get to this point. It is running now 3,600 cc's per cylinder. So there's a set of 1,000s and a set of 2,600s. And that'll give us plenty of fuel for what we're shooting for. But now the big issue and the thing that I need to work through is the throttle body. So obviously I showed you guys parting this off and that we're switching to a drive-by-wire throttle body, and we're going to use the HD clamps on both sides of the throttle body. The reason that is because a lot of people steer away from using drive-by-wire is because vibration can cause these things to geek out pretty bad. So by using an HD clamp on each side of the throttle body, it's essentially going to be floating in the middle, and that will mitigate most of the vibrations, so we shouldn't have any issues. The guys that are doing time attack cars and stuff like that are having great luck and great success using drive-by-wire throttle bodies. The key to that and the key to the success is to make sure they're not harshly mounted and seeing tons and tons of vibrations. Now, the main reason why I'm switching to drive-by-wire instead of cable. Cable's obviously proven. However, there's tons of advantages by running drive-by-wire throttle body. Traction control is one of them. The main reason I'm doing it is that on a traditional setup, if we can have tons of fail-safes built into the ECU, so if you hit boost cut or if coolant pressure gets out of control, stuff like that, you can basically kill the boost so that it's, you know, trying to help prevent the engine from eating itself. The issue is that with a drag car like this, if we're running base spring pressure at, let's say, 20 pounds of boost, something like that, it's still making like 500 plus wheel horsepower. And because it would be cable driven, you can still put your foot to the floor. There are some fail safes and stuff that you can do to help, but pull all kinds of timing and stuff like that. However, with an electronic throttle body like this, the ECU can automatically slam the throttle plates shut. So doesn't matter what kind of base spring pressure it is, doesn't matter anything else. The ECU sees oil pressure drop below whatever I feel safe. It can slam this throttle plate shut, and it doesn't matter what I'm trying to do, it just won't let it happen. So even if I'm trying to get greedy or I'm trying to midway through a pass, anything like that, and the oil pressure goes south, the throttle body can determine what's actually going on with the engine. So it's one of the main reasons why I've switched to this. It is going to be costly. These things are like $200 US for each kit, and I got to run one on each side of the throttle body. However, with all the money invested into the engine and all that stuff, every little thing that we can do to help keep it alive, I'm going to try to do it. So this is kind of new for us on this platform anyways. Obviously, all the new stuff is running electronic throttle bodies, but we can manage power, everything a lot easier, safeties, fail-safes, easier with a drive-by-wire throttle body. So that's why I wanted to switch with that. So we have quite a bit of stuff to do to make it work. I need to build a plate for each side of this flange, so to mount to the intake manifold and mount to the back side of the throttle body. And then, as I would have already explained, we either need to weld or do something on this side of it. But that's still yet to be determined. We've got a plan of attack for this side. We already started working on that. Clayton probably added in some footage here on This side though, we're not 100% sure what we want to do, but I need to get the engine back into the car before we really figure out what we're welding up there, because the placement of everything is going to move ever so slightly, and I don't want to start welding stuff up until we get an engine back into the car for that. So still more to come on the intake manifold. It's a never-ending process, but we'll show you guys as we progress with it. Okay, before we wrap up today's video on the, just a small update on the drag car, I'll show you guys a little bit of the engine. You've probably seen it in the last video, but we're doing a whole video on this thing and the whole assembly. The bottom end is basically together. The cylinder head is basically all together. The new cat cams are in it. It's all been lashed properly, all that stuff. However, the next big part, which is going to be the most time-consuming part of all of this, is we need to degree the cams in and then check for valve to piston clearance. So the cylinder head's probably going to be on and off this thing, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 times doing all of that. It's going to be very time consuming. However, you'll see a bunch of that in the next video, or maybe not the next video, but the video that's specific to the engine build. So on that note, if you guys have any questions or comments, hopefully you enjoy the drag car content. We got tons of stuff coming up for it, a few surprises. If you guys have any questions or comments, as always, ask them below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.